Now to provide you with an overview of what awaits us. Day one will explore opportunities and challenges at a systems level, te ao Māori perspectives, government policy and business strategies. Day two will explore practical action drawing on community, local government and ethical circular business perspectives. There will be opportunities to network with experts, peers and decision makers faced with similar challenges. And the theme for today is enabling the degrowth transition through systems change. Across 5 sessions today, we will explore beyond growth, what we can learn from the international movement, what the degrowth movement in Aotearoa can learn from and offer te ao Māori. Te ao Māori is the Māori worldview. Governing for the future and sufficiency as cost-cutting policy goals, how we mainstream degrowth in Aotearoa and degrowth, where does it currently exist and how can we make it happen. There will be time for Q&A throughout the day and we will close with reflections, and that, friends, is day one. I will now hand over to Sarah, followed by Jack, to speak to vision and purpose. Kia ora, Sarah.
Ngā mihi mahana, kia koutou, haere mai, welcome. We are here because we recognize the gravity of these times and because we want to come together to reach for a vision beyond the addiction to economic growth. We are trapped in a system in which our political leaders continue to choose to follow the most destructive scenarios of the limits to growth modeling. We are on the threshold of crisis. So, beyond growth, to what? My sense of direction is clear. Beyond growth, to stability, to security and safety, sufficiency and satisfaction, to a place of renewed solidarity and true reverence for the sacredness of the wider web of life. The most important thing we can do is invest in social cohesion, at the heart of which is well-being, not growth. As we face into multiple looming crises, we will need each other. So we come together here, now, today, to share reflections, to learn, to collaborate, and share ideas about what we can do to respond to the challenges of these times. And I have to apologize because, as is the case with many emergent processes, the shape of this event has evolved somewhat. The plan was, for day one, to be focused on top-down systemic high-level issues, and day two was describing a focus on bottom-up community action. What has happened, of course, is that the two have merged somewhat. And so we have systemic top issues today and individual community themes, systemic issues tomorrow and individual community themes today as well. It has been an extremely steep learning curve for me pulling together this entire weekend event. And so I want to humbly ask for your patience and understanding if things end up being a little unconventional. But what I realized as well, is rather than top-down, bottom-up, our focus should be on inside out. We need to slow down, listen more, simplify, connect. And this will ground us more with the gravity of what we're facing. Being present, fully, deeply, is itself a form of action. The quality of our attention and enough spaciousness to reflect needs to accompany our work. And our work needs to engage all of us, our head, heart, and hands. I think what many of us are turning to in these complex times is a renewed yearning for a simpler life, a life of true richness, which is often, so often found in relationship. Material things have little value in comparison, We are confronted on all sides by the poverty of these times. Too much stuff, too little joy. I find myself increasingly compassionate for those who are so poor all they have is money. And what we need is health and connection, not wealth. So we are here together to connect. I'll let Jack elaborate from here, but one last comment. I need to acknowledge that we are here, standing on the shoulders of those who came before us with eyes wide open. One of my greatest inspirations is Dana Meadows, so I'd like to honor her here just for a moment. Her words align entirely with my intent. She says, I think one of the most important things is simply showing up in the public debate with a long-term view and with a whole world view, being willing to speak out, to question growth. That growth which, when it is undifferentiated, when we just go for it without any consideration for sustainability or equity or quality, to question that kind of growth and ask, what material growth do we actually need? And for whom? And at what cost? And how long can it be continued? Especially to point out who benefits, who gains, who in the short term, and who in the long term. And to do that insistently, and finally to ask the hard questions, to ask, where are we going, really? What is this progress for? What is this growth for? What is this economy for? What is this planet for? And what is our purpose on it? These questions are so often desperately avoided, especially in the public arena. Nobody wants or needs growth. What people want and need is material sufficiency, long-term security and sustainability, equity, and a purpose larger than accumulating material things. We are here together today to continue this discussion together. Thank you for being here in solidarity. We need strong circles around us. We need each other as we reach for a vision beyond growth. I have so many people I want to thank. I have so many people I want to thank, but I will save that for later in the day. And I will hand over to Jack now.
We have a problem. We've got a very, very big problem. And of ecological overshoot, injustice, inequality. We're destroying the very basis of our opportunities for well-being. And it's happening at a rapid rate. So it's encouraging to see so many of you here interested in this topic, because it's a very difficult topic to face. It's much easier to ignore it and to turn away and to deal with everyday issues. But that kind of short-term focus isn't going to get us out of the situation we're in. One of the issues I think you'll hear repeated throughout the next couple of days is the difference and the gap between what is absolutely necessary for living well in one planet. That's all we have. And what is politically feasible. There's an enormous gap. It's bigger than I can reach. And somehow our task is to try to shrink that, but always keep a focus on the necessity, because unless we have clarity about what actually needs to be done, what the planet requires, we're going to fail. And there's a high likelihood that we might. As difficult and as fear-inducing as that might be, that's the reality we face. We need to understand that we have an enormous task to do. So you're going to hear things the next couple of days that you don't want to hear, you would prefer not to hear, or that you disagree with. And I would encourage you not to ignore or dismiss those points, but those are the very points to engage with. Those are the points where we need to articulate our different approaches to this problem, because it's unprecedented. We don't know how to solve this. There's no recipe, there's no blueprint. We have to figure out the best way forward. And we can only do that together. And we can only do it by listening to each other, by hearing each other's journeys of how we came to understand that we have this challenge and the difficulties around closing that gap between the necessary and the feasible. Okay? So doing it together is what it's all about. Engage with each other on the difficult issues, both the intellectual, conceptual issues that are difficult and the emotional issues that are difficult. That's where we need to engage with each other, disagree. We need to be able to disagree respectfully and empathically with each other because no one has the solutions. Okay? So it's all about working together. So that's what we're doing in the next couple of days. Thank you.